Okay, so now let's click on this, select this NFT, and here we have the NFT. Now let's put the detail name, let's say Rayan, and here we can type the description, hey Rayan NFT, and let's give the price 121. Here is MetaMask. Hey everyone, hope all of you are doing great and welcome back to this full stack NFT marketplace project video. So in the last video we had written all the function which allow us to communicate with our smart contract. In this video we're going to create NFT. Okay, so make sure you open the project, and if you haven't watched the previous video, I'll link that video in the I button or in the description so you can watch that. Otherwise this video will not make any sense. Okay, so here I have opened the project. Make sure you open your project in your own code editor. Obviously not going to open in my code editor. Okay, so first thing we have to do is to go to this context folder. Inside that we have this NFT marketplace context, and this is the function we have written in the last video. Okay, so all this function which you can see, that's all we have written in the last video, and here we're passing all the function with the data. Okay, so everything's looking so fine here, and we're going to close this one. And first thing we have to do is to open up your terminal. Okay, open up your terminal, and we're going to clear the terminal, and we're going to start our internal blockchain. So we'll type npx hard at node. We'll come to this side and we're going to redeploy the smart contracts. Okay, so let's deploy the smart contract, and we're going to start the application. Okay, let's start the application. Type run dev, and here the application is started. Let's open it on the browser, and here everything's working fine. As you can see, we are not connected with the application. That's why we can see that connect button. So far everything's looking fine. Let's do the inspect element and make it side by side so you guys can see what we are exactly working on. Okay, let's bring this down, and so far things are looking fine. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add the connect wallet function on this button, create button. So this is where we're going to add the function first. So right now nothing is happening. We're going to add the function. So let's come here, let's go to the component, and inside that component we have this navigation. Inside the navigation we have this sidebar. Okay, so we'll go to this nav bar, and in that we will take this data, and that data we're going to send as a prop in our sidebar. So let's send that data, and let's come here. We have to send this function as well, connect wallet, and these are the two functions we have to receive in our sidebar. So let's receive the props. Let's receive the connect wallet. So here we are receiving the data. Now we have to do a couple of checks. Simply copy this, and let's close this one. Okay, close all these functions, and let's come down, and here we have this two button. Okay, so we're going to add this connect wallet function on the first button, on the create. Okay, so we'll say if account is empty, same logic we have to follow here. Then we want to add this button, so we'll say button, and it will have the button name, so we'll call it connect, and it will close this one, and it will have the handle click function. And that function we're going to call this, the function name we're going to call it's wallet. What is the name? Okay, connect wallet function. So this is the function we're going to call on this. If we have an account, then we're going to call this function. Okay, and we're going to take this anchor tag so we can redirect to the create page, create NFT page. Okay, and here we're going to provide that path, so upload NFT. Simple logic what we have called. Okay, so that's pretty simple logic. Okay, so far everything's looking good. Now let's come up here and let's try to log out with the application. Here we are already logged out, and click on this. You can see this one is working fine. We can enter the credentials and just simply log into the application, and here you can see if we come here, and you can see if we click on this, you can see right now we have this create, means we are actually logged into the application. That's why we are getting this create button. If we click on that, we can successfully redirect it to the upload NFT page. So the logic is working fine. Okay, nothing fancy. We have already done this. So this one is looking fine. Let's close this one, and close this one, and come up here, close this. Now get into the pages, and now we have to go to this where it is upload NFT. Okay, so now we're going to start working on upload NFT and allow user to create NFT. Okay, so this is what we have done so far. Close this one. So first thing we have to import a couple of things. We need use effect, use state, and use context, and that's coming from React. Now we'll come here and we're going to import a couple of things from contract. Okay, so import, we need that. Come here, what we have called, let's say come up here, and it's called NFT marketplace context. Simply copy that and simply pass here, and that's coming from the context directory. Okay, nothing new, we have already done this. And here we're going to take the data. We're going to take this use context, and in that we're going to parse this NFT marketplace context. So the function we want to receive here is, so let's come down. So first thing we need to have the function is upload to IPFS. Okay, so that's the very first function we're going to receive. So that's the first function. Let's come back here. What else we need? We need this create NFT. So this is the another function we need here. We're going to pass it here. Okay, so these are the two functions we are coming. One will allow us to upload to IPFS and the other one will allow us to create. Okay, and now what we going to pass it here. So both the function we're going to pass as a prop in the upload NFT, and we're going to pass this function as well, create NFT as a props, and this is what we're going to receive in this upload NFT. Okay, let's receive that, upload to IPFS, and we want to receive this create NFT component, and these are the two functions we have. Now we can simply just close this one, and here we're going to take a couple of use state. Okay, so we have to take the price, so we are taking price and it's going to be an empty string, and here we're going to change this name from item name to name only. Okay, so make sure you do these changes. So we'll call it name, select all, and here we'll call name. It's here we have to also change the name, so let's come here, make it capital. Okay, so make sure you do these changes both in the state and both in the drop zone as well. So this is the change we have to do, and let's simply copy that, set price. But before we do that, we have to take one more use state. So this time we're going to take this image. Okay, initially it will be null, and that's the use state we need. So we have created price and we have created this image, and we have done rename. Here in the upload images, what we're going to do is simply change this one, and we'll call set image, and we'll send the props to, let's say, set image. And we have to also send this function upload to IPFS. Okay, because the uploading image we are doing in the drop zone component. Okay, so let's send this function as well. So IPFS, so that's the drop zones we have. Now we're going to simply copy this set name functions, and that's what we have to replace here. So let's replace this one, and we have this set price. And what I remember that we don't have the input field for set price, so we have to create. Okay, so let's come here, let's close this one, and we're going to create here. So simply copy and simply paste here, and here we're going to change this to price. Okay, select this all together and set the price, remove this last s. So this is the price component we have, and it's working fine. And now what we have to do is, so far everything's looking good. Now we have this create NFT function, and that function we're going to call here. So scroll all the way down, and here we have these two buttons, so one for the preview and one for the upload. So we're going to create the function here. So it's going to be an async function because it's going to have a asynchronous behavior. So we'll call this, and inside this we're going to pass all the values. Okay, so pass the name, we'll pass the price, we'll pass the image, we'll pass the descriptions, and here we're going to import the router. So let's come here, and we have to import router. So we'll say use router, and that's coming from next router. Okay, and that's, we're going to take another variable, we'll call this router, and we'll say use router, and simply copy, and that's also we're going to pass it here. Okay, because we are receiving router in our create NFT function. So let's pass that router. We have to pass the, let's say, website, we have to pass the royalties, we have to pass file size, and the last one is going to be category, and the final one is going to be property. So these are the data we are passing. Right now our smart contract can only receive 4 data: name, price, image, description, and router. Okay, so when we modify our smart contract, in that we're going to add all these property. Okay, but I'm just passing all the data here, and I'm going to commit few of them. Okay, but I just try to keep it. Okay, so that's all data we are passing in create NFT. So that's what we have here, and let's come here and let's get into the drop zone, and here we're going to receive the props which we have sent. So we have image already, and let's come here, we have to receive this IPFS. Simply copy and simply paste here. Okay, so this is the IPFS we have. Now we need to get this set image, and we also have this one. So that's the props, and here we're going to do the changes. So instead of having the image from the as a props, we're going to take it from the folder simply. So we have the images there, so dot upload. Okay, so that's the props we have. We're going to simply add this to one. Okay, so simply remove this image, we don't need that one. So far everything's looking good, all these props, and simply rename that item name. Okay, because we have changed the item name there, so rename that and simply copy this one, and let's come down here, and here we have to change the name. Okay, so make sure you do these changes, and here we're going to call that function upload to IPFS. Simply copy that and copy and simply paste here, and it's going to be in a variable. It will return a URL. So when the image will be uploaded to the IPFS, it will return the URL. Okay, and once we'll get the URL, okay, and the URL will set to the file URL, and we are also going to set this image to the URL. So this is the image we are getting from the drop zone. Very simple, not so complicated. Okay, so everything is looking fine. Open up your terminal and simply stop the application from running. Okay, now we have to simply redeploy the smart contract. So let's delete this artifact, and we're going to delete this cache. We have to delete the API, and now we're going to deploy start the internal blockchains, and we're going to deploy the smart contracts. So let's do it very quickly. It is compiled successfully. We have to drag and drop the API, and now we have to start the application. So let's come here and start the application, and let's click on this, and here we are. And so far everything's looking fine. We are not connected, and you can see, so we have the connect ball. Click on this, and let's simply connect the application. So I'll type my credential. So here I have my credential. Click on this, and I'm logged into the applications. It's reloading, and simply click on this. So here we are redirected to the upload NFT page. So let's get started, and we'll come back here, bring this terminal down, and what we have to do is come back to this context, NFT market, and in this you can see, simply remove this one. Okay, because you see that once we are connecting with the application, it's reloading the browser. So for the time being I don't want that functionality, so I'll just simply comment out this. Okay, so right now it will not reload whenever we connect the application. Okay, so let's come here, reload the browser, and so far everything's looking good. Let's do the inspect element, and let's make it side by side so we can see what we are exactly working on. So let's click on this three dot and make it side by side. So right now we don't have any error. Actually we do have one error. So click on this, and here it say that help center component is missing a key. Okay, it's missing a key. So let's fix this one quickly. So let's come here, and let's come back to the component. Inside the component we have this navbar. Inside the navbar we have this help center, and that we are missing that key. So let's provide this key to this div. So key is going to be, let's say I +1. So every div will have a unique key. So let's save it, and let's close that one. If you reload the page, we don't have that error anymore. So as you can see, everything's looking fine so far. We don't have any error. We do have a couple of warnings, but don't need to worry about it. And here we don't have the information. Now simply upload that NFT. Simply click here, and I have all these images, and I have already provided you these images, so I guess you guys will have this one. Now simply create that, and okay, so I have some issues while uploading the image to the IPFS. So this is the error message we have passed, error uploading to IPFS. So let's come back to the code, and let's go to this drop zone, and here we are uploading that. So far looking good. So here we are displaying the hardcode value. Let's change this to the actual image which we are getting from the user. Okay, so what do we have called, let's say this file URL. Here we have the data, and that's the image we want to display. Simply replace this one and paste here, save it. Okay, make sure you do the changes, and now reload the browser and just wait. So click on this and upload the images. Still we are getting that error. So as you can see, this error is coming from upload to IPFS. So there might be some problem in the URL. Okay, so that's the problem we might have. So what I can do, let's close this one, and let's come here. So far everything's looking good. Here we have the problem. Okay, let's have the error. So let's log out the error, and let's come here, and let's try one more time. So now let's upload the image, and here we are getting the error message. Okay, so we need to have a project ID is required, and because of this we are not able to upload the image, the NFT, to the IPFS. Okay, so let's come back here, and I did a little bit research, and what I have found that the API, the public API we are using, it's no longer valid. Okay, because after the merge and after the update in the Infura, you can't use this public API to upload NFT. Okay, you have to get your own API key, and let me show you how you can get that. Okay, but before I do that, you have to do a couple of changes, okay, here. So we have to change this one. Simply comment this one, and here we're going to do a couple of setups before we get the API key to do that. So we're going to take a const and we'll call project ID. You have to paste your project ID here, okay. Then we're going to create the project secret key, and that's the key you have to paste here, okay. Project secret key. So these are the key you need, and you also need the, let's say, auth. And this is the exact URL you have to build, basics, and it's going to be a $sign, and that's you're going to pass the buffer from, and this from is going to be the project ID, and then you have to pass this project secret key. So this is the setup you have to do, okay, and it's going to be a string, okay, it base 64. So we are just doing the setup, okay. So these are the basics project, and here we're going to take the client Ipfs, and here we're going to define a couple of objects. So first we have to define the host is going to be infura/.ps, and we're going to define the port 5001, and we have to define the protocol. So it's going to be HTTPS, and we have to define the header and authentications auth, okay. So these are the setups you have to do, okay. Make sure you do this one, and here you have to provide your project ID and secret key. I'll show you how you can get your. So far everything's looking fine, and now we have to take one more variable, which is a domain, okay, because when you will upload the NFT to the Ipfs, it will have your domain name, which you will create in your project ID, okay. So I'll show you how you can do that. So let's create this, let's call it subdomain, and here you have to pass the URL of the subdomain, okay. So these are the three things you need. You need the project ID, project secret key, and subdomain. And before we proceed ahead, we have to do a couple of changes down here, okay. So here we're going to do the changes in upload to Ipfs, okay. Please come and remove this part, and here we have to type this subdomain, okay. Subdomain, the variable you have taken on the top. So we have called subdomain. Simply copy that, and that's what exactly we go to pass it where it is, here. So make sure you do these changes in upload to Ipfs. That's the one change you have to do. And here you have to simply come here and simply copy this host, okay. Complete this host, and you have to simply replace this with this, copy and replace this one, okay. infura-ipfs.i, okay. So this is the host you have to provide. Here you have to provide this s, okay, HTTPS. So these are the changes you have to do. Make sure you do this, and this is the subdomain URL, and this is the setup for the client, and this is the project ID and project key. So to get our project ID and secret key, we're going to use Infura. It will allow us to communicate with the Ipfs, okay. So make sure you come to this application and read about it. They have explained everything about it. So I'll simply create my account. So this is my actual account. I'm going to create a new account. So let's click this, and you have to make sure you agree with the terms and conditions. Click on this, create. And once you're done with that, it will send you an email in your email ID. So here I am, and here you have to click and confirm the email. So congratulations, click on this, and here you will redirect to your Infura dashboard. So simply close this one. Here you have to do this formalities. So let's select this. So engineer, you can select whatever you want. So no specific requirement, okay. And click on this submit, and here you can able to create your project, okay. So what do you want? I want to create a project to, let's say, you can give a name. So I'm going to choose the Ipfs, and here you can give the name of your project. So let's give the name NFT project. Click submit. So here we are back into the Infura, and to get that project ID and secret key, you have to enter a valid credit card number, okay. They won't charge you anything for the 5 GB, okay. So they will give you 5 GB limit in a month. If you exceed that limit, they will charge you very less, okay. So make sure you enter your valid credit card number, and then save. Enter a card number, and if you come here you can able to find all the project which you have, or if you have any query, you can, that's all you can able to find here. So from here you can also navigate. You can click on Ipfs, and you can click on this, and you can create from here as well, okay. You can pick the course, and if I come to the Explorer, you can see right now I haven't created any project because this is my brand new account. I have another account which is active on, okay. So simply click on this, select give the name to your project, and click on enter, and you have to enter the valid credit card number. So this is my active account, and let me show you how it will look. So here I have already created this project, NFT marketplace, and here you can see all the requests I have made, all the NFTs which I have created and uploaded to the Ipfs. That's all the data you can find here. And if you go to this project right now, don't have it, and if you go to this, you can see here we are, and this is how it will look once you enter your credit card details. This is how the interface looks. So once you enter your credit card details, you will come here, and here you can able to find the project ID and key secret, okay. Project ID, you will find secret key, This is the Infura API endpoint 5001, and so make sure you get that. And from here you can easily able to set the limit. So if you want to set the limit as a quota, you can do that. So let me save it to 2 because I don't want to pay money for using this IPFS. And from here you can easily able to enable the subdomain. Okay, so make sure you can give whatever name you want to your subdomain. So I'll call it, let's say I'll call it something like so Schweb NFT marketplace. Okay, so this is the subdomain which I've created. Okay, save it and it's generated, and that's all the thing data you have to paste here. You have to paste your project key, secret key, and your subdomain. Close this one and close this one, and simply next.js config file. And here you have to do a couple of configuration because we are using external domain to get the images. So here we have to do the configuration for that. So what we're going to do is I'll going to simply copy and paste the thing. Okay, so this is the image, and the image will come from these directory. Okay, so this is my NFT subdomain, and this is the actual Infura IPFS. Okay, so make sure you write the exact thing. Instead of my subdomain, you have to type your own, and the Infura would be the same. So that's the configuration you have to do in the next.js config file, and here you have to paste the project ID and secret key. So I believe that you guys have got your secret key and project ID key and subdomain. Once you're done with that, let's start using this IPFS. Okay, so here I'm back. Let's upload that image. Click on this and select the image, and okay, so here we are still getting an error. So now you can see that error is not related to the the ID, project ID. It's related to something else. It's related to the basics. Okay, so I have done something wrong in my basic URL, in the basic URL. Okay, so let's come here, and okay, this is the problem we have. So make sure you provide this space, and now it will work. Reload the browser and let's try one more time. Let's click on this, and still we are getting an error. Okay, so this time the error is not related to the basic, not related to the project ID, but this time the error is related to the URL. Okay, the configuration file. Everything's looking good. We have also configured this one. Okay, so we have also configured this one. If you click on this, here it will come, and here you can see this is what we exactly done in our next.js config file for the images, but still we are getting that error. I don't know why. So but we can come back here. So the image we have uploaded to the IPFS, it's in this URL. Okay, so let's simply copy the URL and simply open the browser and paste here. Hit enter, and you can see this is our NFT, and it's on my domain Hussain NFT marketplace .infura ipfs.io. okay, so the IPFS work is working fine. Now the only problem we have in our next.js config file. So this is also looking good. We don't have any issues in that. Okay, so simply close this one and close this one, and simply come back to this terminal code, and let's restart the application because I just looked for the code for the half an hour, and I found that no problem issue we have. In such scenario, the only option we have is to restart the application. So let's restart the application and have a look. So we'll run the local blockchain, then we have to simply go into start the application. Click on this, and right now we don't have any issues. Click on this, and here we are. Now let's create that NFT, and here you can see it's working fine. So sometimes there is no problem in the code, but sometimes you have to restart the application, and the error you're having, it will automatically get fixed. Okay, so whenever you get any kind of error and you find that all the code is working fine but still you are getting that error, make sure you restart the application. So here we have the image working fine. Here we have to provide the name. If you provide the name, you can see that it's getting updated. You can provide the website. I'll say daulat-hussain.com. Here you can provide the detail of this NFT. My first NFT, choose the category, provide the royalty and file size and property, and here we go to set the price. So 123. If we click, we don't have that function. If we do this inspect element, and here you can see data is missing. Okay, so everything's working fine. We can easily able to detect the error message as well. So things are looking fine. We can easily able to upload the image to the data IPFS. Okay, so let's come back to the code, bring this down, and let's go to this, close this one and close this one and close this one, and let's go to this upload NFT, and here we are calling the function. So here we are calling the function, and you have noticed one thing, that we need only 4 data: name, price, image, description, and router. Sorry, 5 data to create NFT. So let's do one thing. So we have all this data here, and we can come back to this context in the smart contract, and here you can see we are only taking this URL of the NFT and the price to create NFT. Okay, so we need these 2 data we need. So let's close this one and come back. But here we have all this data. So what we can do, we have to simply comment this half. Okay, comment this data. Obviously right now we don't use it in our application, but definitely we're going to use it later. Okay, so that's what we have here, and this is what we have. Now it will work. So let's close this one, and here we are back in the context, and here we have to do a couple of changes. So let's open this. Okay, so here we have to simply replace this one, total, and paste the data. So we have to paste the price, a name, image, description, and router. So make sure you do these changes. We can simply remove this, we don't no longer need this one, and we have to do the changes. So here we have to pass the file image, and here we're going to pass the, now that's it. Okay, the only 4 data we want to send. Okay, so description, price, image, and we have to change this only. Okay, image. So here we are converting that data into a string, and that's what we are adding up here in the client, and that's what we are uploading to the Infura. Okay, and the rest would be fine, and here we don't need to do any changes. So this will be the same. So contract, we have listing price, we have this to function. So if someone try to create new token, then we have to call this function, or if someone try to resell that, then we have to call that function. And here we are passing the data and the price, and we have to get the commission. So everything is looking fine, no issues we have here. And here we're going to console log out the transaction data. Okay, log transaction. So that's what we have to do. Now let's come here, we're going to restart the application, and this is what you have to do every time you make any changes. Always should start with a fresh, otherwise it will give you an error. This is how I like to do it. Okay, so I'll come here and I have to delete this artifact. Simply delete this cache, and now we have to delete this one as well. We have to start that node, and here we're going to redeploy the contract. So deploy that one. So compile successfully, deployed. And before we start, we have to simply drag and drop the ABI. So here we have the ABI. Now we can start the application. Close all this folder, open folder. So looking good. Now we have to restart the application. So we'll type npm run dev, click on this 3000. Here we are, close this one, and everything's looking fine so far. Now simply come here and simply log out the application, and let's refresh one more time. So working fine. Now click on this connect, MetaMask, enter your password, unlock, and here you can see we have this button. Click on this, and that's working fine. Let's do the inspect element, and let's make it this way. Okay, come back to the console, and now we're going to upload the NFT. So here we're going to clear this one. Okay, otherwise it will throw an error. So whenever you restart the application, make sure you just reset the account. Okay, so this is the account we have used to upload, and now we go to upload the NFT. Click on this. Before we do that, let's bring the terminal down, and let's go to this upload drop zone, and here I'm going to console log the URL, the image which we are uploading. Okay, so let's come here in the drop zone, on drop, and here we're going to just simply log out the URL, the data. So log out the URL. Okay, so that's what we have. Save it. Let's come back to the application, and now we reload the page, and let's upload that. So here you can see we got the image, URL, it's uploaded to the Ipfs, and now we have to pass the data. So let's pass that Daulat NFT. We have to pass the, let's say, hey Daulat NFT. Just ignore it for our time being, and let's type the price, because these are the data is mandatory. So we'll type 1 2 3. Click on this upload. Here is MetaMask, and here you can see it's working fine. So we are interacting with our create token function which we have in our smart contract. You can see the contract address, and this is the listing price we are taking. Okay, you can see this is the contract address. You can simply copy and check. Okay, and this is the listing price which we are charging on every time user will create NFT. So that's the listing price we have. And if you come here you can go to this data. Here you can see the function we are calling create token, and we are passing a string and a number unt. If you come here you can able to find the details, and this is the detail, gas fee and the total fees. Now click on this confirm, and you can see boom. So here you have created your first NFT. Here we have got the data. So if you open this one, you can get all the data related to the NFT which is you have minted. So we have this access list, block number, chain ID, data from gas, and we have all this data. Okay, all this data we are getting because we have successfully created NFT. So the address, and let's come here, close this one. So this is working fine. Now here we're going to import the, let's say, use router. Okay, we have this use router, and here we going to take another variables. We'll say const router, and this router is coming from use router. Okay, so we have this use router, and simply copy that and simply come down here. So once we successfully create the NFT, we want to redirect to the search page. Okay, so you have option wherever you can transfer, but we want to transfer the user after they create the NFT to the search page. So here we're going to use that use router, and we're going to call this router dot push, and here we're going to push this to the search page. Okay, search page, and that's what we have called the page name. Okay, so this is what we have to do. Now let's come here, and this time what we have to do is simply let's create one more NFT. So this time this we have the URL. Let's pass the data. So we have to pass the name, pass the description, hey, subscribe my channel. So if you haven't done, please do that. And here we have to price the price. Click on this. Here we have the MetaMask. So far everything's looking good. So same function, click on this confirm, and here you got the URL, and you can see we have successfully redirected to the search page. So this redirection is also working fine, and these are the demo data we have, but we're going to display the actual NFT which we are creating here instead of this. Okay, so this is the demo data we have rendering here, but we're going to display the actual NFTs. So things are looking fine so far, everything is working fine. We are done with this function. Now we have to call this function fetch NFT. So let's do this, call this function. We'll take this use effect, and we're going to call this function. So we'll call this, what is the name? It's fetch NFTs. So simply call this function. So I want to call this function every time whenever we reload the page. Okay, so there are certain functions we have to call every time. So that's what we have here. Now simply close this one and close this one, come back here, and we have to go to the search page. Okay, search page, and here we have to import couple of things. We need use effect, use state, and use context. The same logic we have to follow here as well. So we're going to import the, let's say, smart contract. Okay, and import, and we'll call it import, and here we're going to call this NFT context, market context. So simply come here, what is the name we have called? So we have the marketplace context. Simply paste here, and that's coming from context folder. Okay, you guys are, I hope that you guys are getting familiar with this. Okay, still you have any confusion, do leave in the comment section. Okay, I try to explain everything. Here we have the import. Now simply close this one, and here we're going to import the data. So it's coming from use context, empty marketplace. Let's come here, and this time the function we need is this fetch NFTs. Simply copy and pass it here. So that's the function we have. And now what we're going to do is, now we're going to call this function. So we're going to take this use state, and we'll have the NFT is going to be an empty array. We have to take this NFT copies. It's going to be an empty array, and this NFT copy is only for filter purpose. Okay, so these are the two use state we have. Now we're going to call this function. So we'll say, and we want to call this function every time we reload the browser, or we have any changes in the data. Okay, so we're going to call this function, and then because it will give us the promise, we have to resolve that promise, and we have to say, let's say, set NFT, and then we have this, pass this item, and we'll call it reverse function. And so we have all the NFT in there, and now we have to do the same thing for the set NFT copy, because we want to take the copy of it. Okay, because here I don't want to mutate the array. Okay, I want to take the reference and I want to do the changes in that, but I don't want to change the original array. So this is how we have the data. Now simply console log out the data. So NFT. So that's the setup we have here. Now if we come back here and simply do the inspect element, go to this console, and here you can see we have the data array. In that, if we open this one, in that we can see we have the data which we have resolved. Simply remove that one. Now let's come here. So first thing we have to do is simply copy this NFTs, okay, and that's what we have to send as a prop in our NFT card 2 component. So send it as a prop here. Simply come back to this, and here we are receiving the data, and here we're going to do the changes. So here we are looping over the data, and we'll come here in the images, and here we're going to call, because it's going to be same element, and we have to call the image. Okay, we have the image. Now if we come here, and here you can see we got the image, the 2 NFT we have created. Here we have got it. It's looking absolutely fine. Let's make it on full screen. This is the 2 NFT we have created. This is the price we have given, and right now we have no name. Okay, so now we have to change this to the name. So we'll say element.name, save it. Here you can see we have the name, my second NFT, and here is the NFT. So the name is also displaying. Okay, now we'll come down, and here we're going to display the price of the NFT, element.price, and here you can see the price we have. You can like and like. So right now we have this small data. Okay, we're going to make our smart contract more robust, so we'll have all the data which you can see in the template design. Okay, so right now I'm just telling you that how you can work with this. So it's working fine. We can render the template, and now we have to start working on the search. Okay, on the filter search. So far looking good. Let's come here. Simply not remove that, simply comment out this data, because I want to keep it so you guys can have a reference. Now let's create other function for our search bar. Okay, so when anybody will type any NFT name, we want to display that NFT. Okay, so here we're going to take this on handle search, and it's going to be take the value, and in that we're going to take this filter NFT, and all the NFT we have this inside the NFT, and we're going to call this filter method on it, and this will have the name, and we want to check. Okay, we have to first take the name and convert it to the lowercase. Once we have the name in the lowercase, after that we have to call this function include function, and we have to try to match the data. Okay, the value, and we have to convert the value also in a lowercase. So that's the filter. Now here we have to do the if statement. So if filter length is deeply equal to 0, then we want to call this displays this data NFT copy, else we want to display this filter. So this is the on handle search function. So simply copy, and that's what we're going to pass it here in the search bar component. So send it as a props. Now this is the one function we have. Now create the another function for the clear. Okay, so when there is nothing in that search, we have to display the data. Okay, so we'll say clear search, and will not take any value, and we'll say if nft.length is and nft.copy, then we want to display this one, nft full copy. Okay, and the same thing we have to do here. We have to pass the data. So that's the 2 props we are sending. Simply copy that one, come back to the search bar, and here we're going to receive those props. So simply copy and receive here. So these are the 2 data we have, and here in the search bar we have to take this use state and use effect, and we'll come here. We're going to take this use state and we'll say search, and here we'll take another use state and we'll call it, let's say, search item, and in that we're going to pass the search. Okay, so that's the setup we have, use state. Now we'll come down, we'll create this use state, and we'll say that const timer, and we're going to create a set timer, so we can detach the timing. Okay, set timer, and in that we're going to call this set search, and we're going to pass the search item, and it will take 1 second. Okay, you can adjust the timing as per your, but I'll go with 1 second. So that's the set timer, and now we need to return the function. So I'll say let's clear the timer function once everything's get done. So we'll call this clear timer function, and it's going to be in a search item. Okay, so that's the basic function. I hope things are getting simpler for you, because these are the simple JavaScript. That's why I'm not explaining that much. So that's what we have here. Let me come down, we'll take another use state, and this time we'll say if search, then we want to call this function. What is the name? On handle search. Simply copy and paste here, and in that we're going to pass the search, else we want to call this on clear search. Okay, so that's the search component. Things are looking fine so far, and it's gonna be this search. So it's looking good, and here we're going to target the input. So in that we're going to say it will have an on click, and we'll say set search item, and in that we're going to e.target.value, and it will have the value to this search, what is the name, search item, okay, initial value. So far everything's looking good, all these things we have done for the search, and now let's have a try. So everything's looking fine. If I search something, okay, we have some problem in our search, it's not working. Just do the inspect element, and let's come here, and let's try to search it. So okay, we have some problem in our search bar. So let's come back to the code, and let's do one thing. Let's close all this one, and let's restart the application and deploy the contract. Let me do it very quickly. So let's run this all command. So drop this one and start the application. So far everything's looking good. You can see all these are looking good. We don't have any issues. Now we have to come here, and first thing we have to simply log out, and let's re-log in to the application one more time, fresh. Okay, so let's click on this connect and put your credential. So let me type my password, unlock, and here you can see create. Click on this create, and now we have to create the NFT. So let's do it very quickly. So let's come back to the search here, and if I click here, and you can see right now we don't have any NFT because we haven't created any NFT. That's why we don't have anything here. We have to create NFT. So let's come back to the NFT page, and we'll simply first we have to reset the account, otherwise it will give us an error. Make sure you clear your history. Okay, so now let's click on this, select this NFT, and here we have the NFT. Now let's put the detail name, let's say Rayan, and here we can type the description, hey Rayan NFT, and let's give the price 121. Here is MetaMask. Simply come here and click on confirm. After creating NFT, here we have redirect to the search page, and here what I have found that NFTs are not displaying. So I stopped the recording and try to find out that what is the problem we have in the code. So there is no problem in the code. At the time of recording, we having a lot of requests on the IPFS or Infura. So when we are making those API requests, it's taking a little bit time to load the data. So that could be the first reason. And the second reason is that I was also getting 504 error while making those requests, okay, from Infura. So there is no problem with the code. That's happening because a lot of requests is going on Infura or IPFS, on all the way we are using the free account. So that's why we are getting this slow server request. So if you have the same problem, don't need to be panicked, because I faced this problem and I was trying to figure out this problem for the last 2 hours. Then I found that this is the true problem exactly happening at this point of time when I'm recording this video. Okay, so make sure you keep continue with this. Whatever we are doing, we are going on the right path. Just keep working on that. If you still not get that NFTs, keep working along with me. We'll try to figure it out in the later, that how we're going to fix it. Okay, sometime you will have the data, sometime you won't have the data. Okay, so there is no problem with the code, so keep working on it. So let me show you. So you can see, let's reload the browser and let's come here, and you can see still we don't have the data. Now let's do the console. Here you can see it took almost 2 minutes, and here we got the NFT. So sometime it will come, sometime it will give you an error. Okay, so here we have the one NFT we have created. You can see we have the price, image, and that's all we have. And we have also the problem in the search bar. We're going to fix that as well. So let's come here and let's try to create one more. Let's give the name. We'll call it Daulat NFT. Let's give the description. Let's give the price. And simply confirm. And here we have redirect. You can see this time we haven't got the data because sometimes it's loading the data in the back end. So just wait for a little bit. And here we can come. Let's console log out. Do we actually have the data or not? So let's do the inspect element. And you can see this is the error I was talking about. Okay, simply reload the browser. There is no problem in the code. Simply reload the browser. And as you can see right now we have received the data. So sometimes the data will come in late, sometimes the data will arrive fast, so you can display. So we have this dollar, the NFT we have created, so everything is working fine. Okay, so this is the bug I have found, and that's happening because of the Infura or IPFS. So make sure, don't be panic. And if we are typing here anything in the search bar, our search filter is not working. Okay, so this was not working. We have to fix this as well. Okay, so let's type R, still is not working. So there is a serious problem. Let's create one more NFT. Okay, let's type the price and click on confirm, and here you can see we got it. Okay, so we got this 4 NFT because I was testing when I was not getting the data, so I created 2 NFT. So you can see sometime the data will arrive fast, sometime the data will arrive late, and sometime you will get an error. So it's nothing your problem that's happening, because at the time of recording I'm facing this problem because there is a lot of requests is going on in Fura or Ipfs. So that's because of that is happening. Okay, so keep working along with me. We're going to do a meta modification so we don't have any issues right now. Just work along with me. So that's the only thing I want to cover in this, that how you can create your NFT. The only modification we have to do in our search bar, because our search bar is not working fine, and I don't want to extend this video too long, otherwise it's almost getting close to an hour. So in the next video we're going to fix that search bar. We're going to